Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Grue Room. And today on the Grue Room, we got a very special guest, Kristen Va- Vaganos. Vaganos, I'm gonna say. So we're just waiting for Kristen to get in the live the Instagram live, and as soon as she does, we're gonna go live with her for the interview. So just waiting on Kristen to get in, and there she is. And yep, there we go. Okay. Waiting for my slow internet to kick in. There we go.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going well. This is my first, oh no, this is my second Instagram Live.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm
Wow.
excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when I first started doing these, I didn't know nothing about it, and one
Hmm.
of my friends was like, you run a horror site. Why don't you start doing live stuff, like
Yeah.
interview the guests live instead of doing it over the phone or written? And I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I think this is like the 25th episode in now. And
Great. Well, it's working.
yeah. So I wanted to ask you like how everything is now. Like how did how did you spend your time in quarantine and everything?
Yeah. I gosh, we've been doing it so long now. It's hard to remember back at the beginning. I live in Los Angeles, but I spent 2 months of the beginning back home with my family in Philadelphia.
That's where I
Um,
live.
Oh, really? That's so
Yeah.
funny. Where? What part of town?
South Philly.
South Philly? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. My
Mhm.
dad is from West Philly and my mom's from the surrounding area, and we live in Fort Washington now.
Oh,
Um,
nice,
yeah, that area
nice.
of town, just a few minutes outside the
Okay.
city.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, but so I was there for 2 months, which was really nice because it was a bunch of quality time that we don't always get together. My sister was home too, and I've been in LA since then. I've been able to work a bit. Every now and then, there's been some shoots that have found their way. I
Okay.
also produced a movie that I was in October that had Vivica A. Fox and Taryn Manning and
Nice.
Sally Kirkland, a lot of celebrities in that one. That was really awesome. Um, and other than that, other than the occasional shoots, I've been working from home, writing, reading. Um, I'm in a book club.
Oh,
um,
nice. There you go.
yeah, a lot of in-home workouts, those crazy things. Just trying to stay sane and patient with myself about the days that I have momentum and ambition and the days that I just want to, you know, curl up and kind of pretend the world isn't dying.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
But every day is different and every moment's different. And some days feel good and some days feel kind of like sad. And I think you just have to let them all happen. You can't change it. We really can't change much of this current situation. So finding peace
I
with that
know.
has been a priority.
Oh yeah, definitely. I just I just hope this thing comes to an end soon because it limits you on everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so too, for sure.
Yeah.
My dad has been vaccinated because he's a doctor. So it's starting
Oh.
to feel real, the other end of this. I
Hmm.
have a few friends who've been vaccinated too, so it's at least we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True, true,
Mhm.
exactly. So you said you lived in Philly for like a little while. Did you go to any schools here to act? Like, I mean, I know they got Mike Lemon and Harry and all that here in
Yeah,
Philly.
that's
Like,
so
did you ever
funny.
go
Wow,
to
these
any?
are terms I have not heard in so long. Yeah, I did some stuff with Mike Lemon for a while. I was in Philly until I was 18. And then I went
Okay,
to college in New York. I went to NYU. So
nice.
I was always able to come back to Philly if I needed to, and I was always able to go up to New York before I moved there if I needed to, which was nice. But I definitely did Mike Lemon. I did the Actors Center, which used to be in Old City. I think they're closed now, but I took a bunch of classes
Yeah.
there. And I did a summer camp at Walnut Street Theater.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mike Lemmon was great. I actually think that I booked a commercial I shot for a local 6 ABC Action News anchor named Brian Taff. I did a commercial like advertising his voice. It like still plays sometimes. But I think that was through Mike Lemmon. I found that audition and came in.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah. It's a really funny commercial. My friends used to make fun of me because one of my lines is, "That's so lit."
Did you ever have, did you ever have to ride the world famous Broad Street line?
Oh yeah, been there, done that. Yeah, I used to live.
Man, the stories on that line.
Yeah. I used to live on the mega buses and the Bolt buses, New York and back. Oh, I spent so many hours of my life on those buses too.
I know. I know.
That's
And I was reading that you're Greek and you have friends and family in Greece, and someone in your family was a saint.
Oh my goodness.
I heard that. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of wild. My great uncle is the only modernly ordained Greek saint, which is wacky. And I'm not like a very spiritual person, but I went to Greece most recently 2 years ago with my family, and we visited. It's such a long story, but we visited like a monastery that he started for female Turkish refugees. And so to this day, you're only allowed in that church if you're female or blood related to him. So like my dad and my uncle, who were both there, are some of the only men allowed in this church. And we went there for a church service, and there's like a little museum attached that has like photos of my great grandfather, which is crazy. Actually, my grandfather too. And his like living quarters are still there and like untouched, so you can see them. It's quite intense, and like I said, I'm not super spiritual, but being there, like it was one of those things where, you know, my family, we would like lock eyes with each other across the room and just kind of like get teared up and look away, just because it was like an overwhelming feeling, if that makes sense, that like this is in our blood and stuff. So yeah, that was wild. And
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. It's like certainly sets the bar really high. I'm like, oh, okay, I have saintly blood. I should probably be a good human. Like, oh, expectations. Yeah.
Okay. So now we go from talking about saints to talking about a horror movie.
Oh my God, I know, right? What a segue. So that's what I decided to do with my life, is make horror films. So yeah. What are you gonna do?
So you're in the new the horror film I Am Lisa.
Yeah.
And of course you play the lead role of Lisa.
Yeah.
And what made you want to do this film? Like, what drew you to the film and the world of horror?
Yeah, you know, it's so funny because I'm not a big consumer of horror film. I don't watch tons of it. So before signing on and before filming, I've said this so many times, but it was important to me because I asked our writer, Eric Winkler, and our director, Patrick Ray, for like a list of homework movies that were similar in tone or style that I could watch, because I didn't want to do the genre, you know, I wanted to do it justice.
Yeah.
It's a genre with like a very loyal fan base that watches everything and has opinions on everything. So I didn't know what was coming before me, you know. But what drew me to the film, I read a few drafts of it before signing on. Eric had sent me a draft a year before we shot that wasn't quite ready at the time, and I had passed on it. But I always loved, in both that version and the version I was sent, when I officially did sign on, and then we shot basically that version. I've always loved the through line of Lisa being this very unassuming, quiet, small town girl just trying to get
Mhm.
by and avoid the chaos and avoid the drama that her town is riddled with, because it's that small town thing where everyone's so bored, so they just stir the pot. You know what I mean? Like, we've all seen those movies, or maybe we grew up there, or whatever. Yeah. So I liked that this woman who would not want to be in the spotlight at all, falls into this situation where she suddenly has all these abilities and enemies and a position to right the wrongs, to take on the bullies, and, change the narrative. So it was troubling for her at first to assume this position and, use that strength that she's now coming into. But I think overall you really get like an underdog story of taking down, in the most simplest sense, taking down the bully. And I was always drawn to that
Oh
revenge
yeah.
story in this unassuming protagonist, basically. Long-winded answer, but you asked.
Nice. No, that's perfect. It reminds me a little bit. Did you ever see that like an old film, The Crow? The Crow with Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee.
No, I didn't see it. It should have been on my homework list.
It definitely sounds like something like that because it's about him and his soon-to-be bride. They're about to get married on Halloween night, and the night before Halloween they get killed, and a year later, like brings Brandon Lee back from the dead, and he goes after the people that killed him and his soon-to-be wife.
Wow, that's
So,
crazy.
I mean, it's not exactly like it, but the lines are a little bit almost similar.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. That's so funny that you would say that, because this is a really random fact. But the actress who plays Sam, my best friend in Lisa, her name's Jennifer Seward. She has a dog named Bruce Lee. It's really random, but the first thing I thought about.
Well, Bruce Lee is world known, right?
Yeah, I'll have to go give that one a watch. Add it to the list.
And how did how did you get the role, and how did you find out about the film?
Yeah, so Eric Winkler, the writer, reached out to me a year or so before we shot. I think he had found me online. He'd either seen some of my work or just stumbled across me, and he had sent me the script and basically asked me what I thought of it, and I think if I would consider playing Lisa. Um, so he really just pitched it to me, and I read the script and gave him a lot of notes at the time, because there was a lot there, had a lot of potential, but it just wasn't quite ready yet. Some changes that just needed to be made, and actually the script, a lot of my notes were taken, a lot of notes that weren't mine were taken, a lot of characters changed from being male to being female, which I think makes the film a lot more interesting too. In the original
Yeah.
draft, almost all the bad guys were male, and we've seen it before, so I think that the way we filmed it is more interesting and complex. um, and so anyway, a year later, basically, he had a whole new version that was in a much better position, and he sent it to me again. I think they had cast the role, and then that actress had fallen through, and so he reached back out and said, would you please reconsider? I've really always imagined you in the role. And I sent a couple scenes to Patrick, to the director, so he could sign off, and I was in Kansas City like a month later. So, well, thanks, Eric.
Okay. Wow, nice. See, you were meant to play that role.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. It was always, well, I wonder too. I've never really asked him, but I wonder if between drafts it was written with me in mind. I know that once we got
Hmm.
the set, I tweaked a few things that I thought, needed deepening or just would sound more natural in another way. So it's definitely, I made her my own, but yeah, I guess it worked out.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And how cool is it to play a wolf in your film? a werewolf. Like that has to be so cool. Like that's such a cool role to play.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was something I definitely had never done before, and it was um like physically, challenging in a different way.
Mhm.
I've said this a million times, but as a small person who is rather unassuming and um not super strong, it was a lot of fun to kind of play with the effects of that. And it's when you start putting on like the fangs and the
Mhm.
contacts and the nails and all that, you look in the mirror and you look completely different, and you just feel, I mean, it's like outside in, you look at yourself and like, oh, okay, I got this. Like I could take somebody down. I could so like, the effects do half the job for you, but it was fun. It was super fun and out of my comfort zone and scary in a way, which is, I always say if it scares you, you should probably do it. So it was challenging sometimes to, toe the line of where is she comfortable in her body and where is this new and where is she feeling muscle or strength or just vibration in places that are new to her and that are, you know, seeping through her blood or whatever you want to call it. So it was fun. It was a fun adventure, but yeah, it felt cool. Felt like a badass chick.
Nice. And how was the set like? How was it like being on set for that kind of movie?
Yeah, it was lovely. The crew was all local. Everybody was local except me and our cinematographer. We'd flown in from Los Angeles. And so everybody knew each other, had worked together before, which is always nice. And our director, Patrick, had worked with Hanuman Brown Eagle, which is the name of our cinematographer, plenty of times too. So they had a really good shorthand rapport that I somehow and miraculously slipped right into right away. The three of us were on the same wavelength. And Patrick and I even joke we like read each other's mind a couple of times. We just clicked, which was great because it allowed us to move a lot faster. And this was
Yeah.
definitely a low budget, quick indie shoot. So it was the sort of thing where you needed to get a lot done every day. I think our shoot was only 12 or 14 days. And then I think I was back for some pickup shots 1 or 2 days later. But it was fast. So everybody really needed to be on top of it. Which was great because everybody was and worked well together. And it was really collaborative too, which I really appreciate about indie film and about a good team. Um,
Hmm.
Anytime an actor pitched a line change or an idea or a blocking suggestion, it was, welcome with open arms and open ears. And a lot of things that you see, a lot of lines you hear are like we were come up with on the spot on the day just to make it feel more natural. Or, oh, well, this doesn't work if I have to walk here. So why don't we change it to this? And just, it was, and that's what I love, where we're all there and we're brainstorming and we're figuring out problem solving in character with the tone in mind. That's where I think the magic happens. We can all do all the prep we
Hmm.
want, but when we get there and if everyone is collaborative and um, open to it, then it lends itself to a really fun set, which ours was.
Oh wow, sweet. That's always good when you're on set and everything goes smooth and it's fun and no one has, their nose up in the air.
Yeah, yeah, right. Nothing to that, which was great.
I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it or not, but what what kill did you like the best and what was your best scene?
Sure. I mean, yeah, spoiler alert, but let's do it. Let's talk about it. The movie's out. People can see it. Um, what kill did I like the best? I mean, I have to say, when I killed the deputy Nick, which is played by Chris Bilsma, I think that that
Hmm.
has to be my favorite death because it's just such an intense special effect, like blood rig that was one time only. Like you don't reset and do that again. There's blood
No.
everywhere and mechanism is used, so it was high stakes, and we all needed to make sure we got it right. So there was a lot of practice and preparation, and Jake, our special effects makeup artist and producer,
Hmm.
was so sweet and would walk us through everything and how everything works so that we wouldn't, we'd know what to expect. But that was a really fun scene to shoot because of how cool the effects were that we were working with. And then also, speaking of, figuring things out on the day, that scene, the scene that precedes that death, was basically rewritten all on the spot because we had to change the location of where we were shooting that scene, and we had to change some of the mechanism of the death from what was written in the script. So with those changes, which were totally fine, some of the lines just didn't quite work anymore. So that was a super fun experience because I remember me and Chris, the actors, and then Jake was, you know, applying Chris's makeup, and Eric was sitting there with us, and we were kind of just rewriting the script as we were getting ready for the scene, as they were lighting the scene. Just say, okay, what if we say this, and what if I say that, and then, you know, we'll reference this, and just look at Eric, does that work? And then he would add something in, and we just all figured it out in the moment, which is always fun too. So that is truly, that scene is a product of the moment. And it looks,
wow.
I think the blood rig worked, thank God, and it looks really great. So that was a really fun one.
Wow. Damn, that definitely sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any like funny or cool behind the scenes stories that happen on set that stands out to you the most?
Yeah. So, you know, when you say funny, it's like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, which is so understated, and like, you know, you might miss it if you're looking down or something. But there's a couple scenes where Lisa goes to the grocery store, and she
Mm-hmm.
gets, first time, she doesn't get anything, but she's tempted a little bit by like the meat section because she's having these new cravings now. She's no longer a vegetarian. And then and then the second time she goes, she gets all this meat, and she gets like dog food. Like she just has all these weird cravings now, and she gives in to them. The second time she goes back. And that scene is so funny to me. I think those moments are so important in like heavy revenge horror films, to have like a moment of brevity, moment for everyone to just like laugh at the ridiculousness of this situation along with Lisa. And just like take a pause. So that scene's so funny, and the actor who plays the like cashier is so sweet. Like he just doesn't even say anything, and yet it's like a hilarious scene. His name's James Kemper. He's so funny in it. But his reaction when Lisa's buying all this food. And the funny thing about that scene, which you might not know, is the people waiting in line behind Lisa to check out are Eric's wife, Eric's son, Patrick's wife, Patrick's daughter. So it's like a whole family, like everyone like on the crew, like their wives are in the scene. And so it's just them who I now know very well, like looking at Lisa, like buying this food, like, oh my God, she's crazy. So it was really fun to shoot. And I think it's a lighthearted moment that like just does its job in the film perfectly.
Awesome. Do you have to wear the fangs long? Like how did it feel like having the fangs on all day? I don't know if you had to wear it all day or if it was only.
Wasn't all day. I think that it was only ever like a few hours at a time, just with the way that the film was scheduled. The only day that I wore that stuff for a long time was when we filmed the finale, because that's
Okay.
and that's the full transformation. So that was a lot. It was funny. I mean, you can imagine it's difficult at times. I can't really eat when the fangs and the nails are in. I can't really touch anything. I like could barely text. I was one of those like, you know, tapping the phone kind of girls. Like, so I can't use my phone. Can't really touch anything. Can't really go to the bathroom. You have to like plan things beforehand. Well, like I would remember to know. Okay, eat a snack. Go to the bathroom. Do anything else you need to do before all these fangs and things are on you. So I didn't have to wear them for too long at a time, but I certainly just kind of sat there like once I had them.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you watch any horror films to prep to get you in the mind frame to play the character of Lisa?
Yeah, I did. I watched, upon the recommendation of Eric, one of the ones that stood out to me as being really helpful was a movie called Ginger Snaps. I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
it.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
Yes.
great. So it's another werewolf movie, obviously, and it's another movie that uses that as like a coming of age for the female undergoing the transformation. So it was really helpful for me to watch in terms of comparison and tone and all that. But there's definitely also differences between that film and Lisa. I mean, the actress in that film, or the character, I should say, kind of loves the transformation like way more than Lisa does. Lisa's like no, what's happening to me? And that girl's kind of experiencing a sexual awakening, you know? So it's definitely different. But it was wild and like got me on board to like, okay, like here's that's where we're going, you know, people are gonna be biting limbs. Well, I'm gonna be biting limbs, like that's what I'm jumping into. So that was a fun one for sure to watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you like best about playing Lisa?
What did I like best about playing Lisa? I liked like how her friendship with the character that Jennifer Stewart plays, Sam. I really liked that part of her. I thought that was where she roots herself.
Hmm.
You know, her family's not really in the picture. Obviously, her grandmother has just died before the movie starts and has left the bookstore to her. So she's kind of a loner, but she's a die-hard for her best friend Sam. You know, she will do anything for Sam, as we see in the movie. That is her lifeline. She is all she needs. And so it was fun to do the scenes with Sam because it was like, oh, good, okay, now I feel grounded again. Now I feel my reality, my roots, like my home, my sense of home and belonging, because the movie is very much her whole world is turned upside down. But in Sam is
Hmm.
where she feels, you know, Sam in the bookstore is where she feels grounded again. So playing with that relationship, and my sister is like my best friend in real life. So,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
bringing those kinds of relationships to screen is always fun. Those just female friendships that are real and not catty, and like when you get to play one of those, it's always really fun. Especially when the other females in the film are beating you up. So yeah, which was also fun. I mean, everybody was amazing. The cast was awesome, I have to say. Like everyone, I'm still friends with, and we had a great time. So, um, the just collaborating with everybody was great. But those scenes were a part of Lisa that I really loved. Yeah.
Nice. Sweet, sweet. Now there's like a old horror short that you were in called Witch Witch Hunt.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your thoughts on playing a witch now. I mean, you already talked about playing a wolf. Now, how's it feel to play a witch?
Yeah. So funny. Wow. I shot that so long ago. That was in like 2014, maybe
Wow.
2015. That's one of the first films I ever did. It was actually a student film, short film for
Okay.
Drexel University. And
Drexel, nice.
yes, yeah, or Philly. Yeah, I think I auditioned for that and shot it in the summer between high school and college. So I was still,
Hmm.
you know, close to home and everything. But that was fun. I mean, that was another one with like I got to look way stronger and more powerful than I really am, you know? Like with that one it was fun too because nothing on me had to change, you know? I didn't have different fangs or eyes or nails or anything like that. Well, I think I did have purple eyes at one point, but anyway. I didn't have to put anything on to make me feel or look different, but I got to just kind of like, you know, do the hand motions or whatever, and then things would happen. And so it was slightly less in my body, but cool in a totally other way. And I mean, you know, how cool to just play someone who can do things real humans can't do. I mean,
I know,
after that,
right?
you're not
Exactly.
even satisfied with the human experience. You're like, why can't I do that for real?
I mean that has to be cool. Like, one of the shows that I love is Charmed.
Yeah, nice. It's awesome. It's fun to play that like witchy sphere where like anything's possible and I'm in control. It's cool.
Nice. What role did you play? You played in a Lifetime film, Ma Mommy Would Never Hurt You, is it called?
Yeah, that's actually the first
Okay.
Lifetime movie I did. That was back in like 2018 that came out. And then I've done a couple more since then. I actually had one that just premiered like 3 weeks ago called Obsessed with the Babysitter. But that was awesome because that was the first feature film that I was the lead in. So it was a big learning experience for me when I shot it. I shot it right when I moved out to LA. So
Oh.
really fun. But I basically played in that movie. It's for the most part, there's a few other supporting characters, but for the most part, it's a three-header with me, my sister, and my mom. And so, female-led film, which was really fun, and the three of us got to just like really click in together, and that was an awesome experience. But it's basically about our mom,
Mhm.
kind of about like Munchausen, where like she is so terrified of us leaving her that she goes to extreme lengths to keep the younger sister from leaving, to the point where the mom creates a fake illness that the younger daughter has to scare her from leaving the house, basically. And the film starts with my character who has left, who has run away. She's come back to tell them that she's engaged and make amends after she's run away. But slowly, my character starts to discover what is going on, and that my mom's not well, and that I need to get my sister out of there. So that
Wow.
is that film. Yeah. Those
Wow,
are
that's definitely deep, that film.
Yeah, it is. You know, that's the fun thing about those psychological thrillers sometimes, which is actually a genre I really love, is that, you know, there's craziness going on and there's absurd, dramatic circumstances, but it's always rooted in something very real and human, of just like
Mhm.
a mother losing herself and her kids and being so terrified that they will abandon her or grow out of her, you know, outgrow her, and taking it way too far, and how heartbreaking it is when, you know, your own family is just toxic to be around. So that's fun. I
Yeah.
like to find like the rooted, humanizing story, you know, underneath all the fun stuff that we then use to tell it.
Wow. Okay. And you're in a holiday film too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I have a holiday film that has not come out yet. That is
Okay.
called The Christmas Dance, that I star in, and I
Hmm.
also have a holiday film that did come out on Lifetime this Christmas. Came out on Christmas night. That was called My Sweet Holiday, and I have a short role, a supporting role in that film. So that was
Nice.
also Lifetime. But those are fun too. So festive. No
Yeah.
horror.
Now, now, do you do that around that time of the year, holidays? Do you watch the channel and watch all the Christmas movies and
Yeah.
Hallmark and all that?
Who
Okay.
doesn't? They're so feel
I
good.
know,
They're like
I know
amazing.
it is.
Yeah, and Christmas is just not the same in LA. Like I always go home to Philly because
Hmm.
it doesn't feel right here. There's no snow, there's no cold, so you gotta like go and get your taste of it. Yeah, whether through TV or
Yeah.
traveling.
And you play a good twin. It's another horror short I think you did, Hoarding.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that was an awesome film. Actually directed by and starring Karen Gillan of Avengers and
Mhm.
Jumanji and amazing other films. But that was super fun and wacky. That is a short that I play. Yeah, I play like a good twin. Um, can't say much about that one at the
Yeah.
moment, but it was another very wacky horror experience
Okay.
that I hope everyone gets to see soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you would rather play the good twin over the bad twin, right?
I mean, listen, I'll take whatever you throw at me and sink my teeth
Okay.
in, but that's
Now,
funny.
I don't know if you ever been to any of these, but did you ever go to any like horror cons? You
No,
can.
I haven't been, but there's actually, I think there's a festival in Topeka, Kansas in August that I'm being
Mhm.
flown out to do, and I'll have like a booth
Nice.
for I Am Lisa in August this
Nice.
year, assuming it happens and assuming it's safe and can happen. So that might actually be my first time at something like that. Yeah.
Oh, it's really fun. It's so much fun going to them, especially if like you're one of the stars there, and you have all the people coming up, meeting you, and wanting to know about the film and signing autographs, taking pictures. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah, I think it will be. I'm excited to see it. I've never been as as a guest or anything, so I'm excited to just check it out.
Nice. Okay. what do you do for fun when you're not acting and writing and producing?
Hmm. Yeah, well, when life is normal, I love to go see comedy. I like to go see stand-up and improv and sketch shows a lot. Comedy Store is like my favorite place to hang out, and UCB where I perform and also watch shows, and that's like one of my favorite things to do. I love these days, I love puzzling, um, stuff like that. And traveling, which we can't really do much of these days anymore, too. Trying to get into cooking, doing my best.
Nice, nice. Okay, I think the screen froze. Okay, there we go. The screen froze for like a
You froze
brief
there, yep.
second.
Sorry about
All right.
that.
And is there any hidden talent like that fans might not know about you? Like any hidden talents?
I have double jointed elbows that I think is kind of freaky that people wouldn't know. Here, let's see if I can show you. So that's like
Okay.
it like extends really weirdly, which I used to
Oh
be a cheerleader,
wow.
and I don't know, like cheerleaders have to do like high V. It's really hard to show you here, but I always was like too far out, and they made me try to bring it in because I looked weird and broken.
Oh no.
Yeah, sometimes.
Is there anything coming out that you like to plug? Like what's coming next for you and everything?
Yeah, so I Am Lisa is officially out on Redbox. You can rent it there. I believe you can pre-order the movie on Amazon and Walmart online. And the Blu-ray disc, which actually has some special features that yours truly is on, will be available exclusively at Best Buy in March. And also in March, the film will be available on streaming, Amazon, iTunes, Vudu, Fandango, On Demand, all of that. Obsessed with the Babysitter, Lifetime movie that I star in, came out 3 weeks ago and is now available on the website or whenever it's airing again. And I do have a couple other films that are releasing this year. I don't have exact dates yet, so
Okay.
just keep an eye on my socials for more updates.
Okay. And where can fans find you at? What's your pages?
Yeah, so all my socials are at Vaganos, Kvaganos. And I also have a website, KristenVaganos.com, if you want to look there for updates.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much for being a guest today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. All right. Have yourself
Okay.
a really good night and fun weekend.
Thank you. You too. Say hi to Philly for me.
Oh, I definitely will. Thank you.
All right. Bye, dude. Take care.
Bye. Have a good night.